gallery. Feels like in the basement, but it's like such a special treat, especially after all of the other European paintings. They have like this raw quality to them, kind of a dark and light thing going on.
A young woman at the toilet with a maid. Her charge in the back.
This was our first Rembrandt we saw, the Standard Bearer, 1604 to 1657. Let's go check out some Dutch paintings. These are all really, really awesome. A musician and his daughter, 1629. The father and daughter in this elegant interior display the wealth and confidence of the patrician class of 17th century Amsterdam.
They wear luxurious black clothing. The daughter is in the costume of a grown woman, and the father's lute is both costly and foreign import and marks of refinement. Dr. Kaiser excelled in a depiction of objects in perspective, such as the Warren lute case and the classically ornamented doorway. Backpack thing is a Met rule, in case anybody's watching. Remember I mentioned Rembrandt over there? I said this light reminds me of Rembrandt. This is really cool. Rembrandt, I think, did a lot with light. There was artists like Picasso or, I don't know, how do you explain it? I don't know how to explain it. Oh, no, that's a great book.
They're not dead yet.
Game piece with a dead heron. Okay. Okay, Retta.
I'm not.
What's this called? The Toilet of Bathsheba? Biblical figure Bathsheba completely nude. Lost in a moment of contemplation and unaware that she's being observed by King David and a distant tower background. Classic critics particularly objected to Rembrandt's realistic representation of the female body, declaring that the marks of garters could be seen on the legs of his figures from history or myth. See Bathsheba's left calf here. Like much of the picture, the attendant arranging Bathsheba's hair is badly abraded from past cleaning, and she may have been intended to represent a woman of African origin. Excuse me. Here's another notable Rembrandt. This is Herman Dummer from 1640-ish. I can tell it's Rembrandt. It just looks like it to me. One thing was he would do, like, light up the dark.
But I can still use it myself.
As a young artist, Louis Reis admired Rembrandt's manner and sat for this portrait.
Gerard de la Reyes. Gerard de la Reyes, 1641 to 1711, was, in his day, a well-known painter, etcher, and art theorist. He suffered from congenital syphilis, which caused him to go blind about 1690. This one has something to do with Moses. He's striking the water from the stone, but there's all these people and this bare-breasted woman. Not exactly. Unsurprisingly, I don't know as much about the not super famous, but here's another Rembrandt. This one's called Man in Turban over there on the left.
Oh, look at the mushrooms.
Oh, this one's
He takes the flower in a natural setting, whereas actually the bloom is actually one living being in a natural setting.
Okay. What do you usually people would pick them and then do it?
Rather, look at her flowers that were arranged in days. He looked.
Of what?
Menace.
Oh look, here's another Rembrandt. I mean, the man in the turban again. Compared with Rembrandt's formal portraits of the same year, this picture is remarkable for its brilliant brushwork and dramatic illumination. He probably painted this work shortly after he moved from his native Leiden to Amsterdam. Cephalus Improcris. Gottfried Schacklin, probably 1680s, oil on canvas. I can't really tell you much more about that. It says some things on the plaque about what it is. If you'd like to see that, simply pause your screen and zoom in.
So, story of Hunter Cephalus. No mistakes. No, you're not supposed to go over there. No mistakes. Okay. Oh.
We'll get into more of this.
It's an oyster shell. This one's by Jen David Steheen. I love this. Look at how shiny it looks. Wow, and the shininess of the lemon rind and the lemon and everything really, really stands out. And this is just one of my type of things. It's a skull and a coins, and it's so dark and menacing like a Harry Potter.
This is the first Rembrandt woman that we see. This was actually his housekeeper turned common law wife and mother of his daughter Hendrike Stoffels. I'm probably not saying that right. Their daughter's name was
A
Cornelia.
young woman glances out a window while turning her lute. Open songbooks and a viola da gamba on the floor indicate she's preparing for a duet. Wealthy young people in the Dutch Republic studied music as part of their education, and amateur concerts provided welcome opportunity for flirtation.
This is an incredible altarpiece by Raphael, Madonna and Child enthroned with saints. It was made for nuns, and they sold it in 1678. In the early 20th century, it was purchased by J.P. Morgan, who was
You can tell just how busy we were by the
big
way I kind of
contributors to the
skimmed
net.
over these paintings, barely even videoing them. I really love all of these Madonna with Childs. When I search them on the Met's website, there's so many. I can't even find that one. Remember how tired we were at the Met.
I built my reputation, fought for recognition. I was raised an underdog, would take any of it.
Christ appearing to his mother, Juan de Flanders, 1496. Juan de Flanders, Saint Michael and Francis. Saint Francis. This one fascinated me too. Look at the door. What is that? Is it silver or is that a mirror? This is a marriage feast. Juan de Flanders. You're turning me. That's helpful. Thank you. You're nice and slim. You're like, especially me.
You're driving yourself crazy by the driving it around. That's what you just said.
No, you. That's what you were saying. I really want to look at this stuff.
It looks super real.
You know the picture of Yogananda autobiography where he
What happened?
like would sit you over and go.
Oh, yeah.
This picture does that.
This one, Gerard David, the Annunciation. I've noticed that in other ones too. I felt like this one, the Adoration of Magi, 1620, oil and what? Sorry. I just went back too far.
What artist do that?
What? What?
You get so they're always looking at it without modern technology.
Temporal wood.
Some of them they just has the impression they're still looking at you, right?
They do. Dahlias. Vase of Flowers and Conch Shell by Anne Bayer Coster. Elizabeth's Looking in a Mirror. Okay, well, let's, I don't know where that is. We'll have to talk to Daddy.
These are fragments from the Tiffany studio facade, is what it says on the plaque. So beautiful. I love mosaic, like I said before. Zoom in on this, pause if you want to know more.
I thought you said it wasn't lit up. Well, then how can you see it at night? That Singlass Herbie Bar talks about that, how it's not lit up or anything, it's all natural. We're not trying to make you mad right now, we don't even know where we are. Ananda wants to lead us, she says.
By the time we got to Armory and Arms, I was almost completely out of battery power on my phone. I almost didn't want to take any video, but I'm so glad I did because all of this amazing metalwork was so worth it. This was my favorite item here. It's called a Burgonette by armorer Filippo Negroli. It's Italian. This masterpiece of Renaissance metalwork is signed on the brow plate by Filippo Negroli, whose embossed armor was praised by 16th century writers as miraculous and deserving immortal merit. Formed of one plate of steel and patinated to look like bronze, the bowl is raised in high relief with motifs inspired by classical art. The graceful mermaid-like siren forming the helmet's cob holds a grimacing head of Medusa by the hair. The sides of the helmet are covered with acanthus scrolls inhabited by putti, a motif ultimately derived from ancient Roman sculpture and wall paintings.
Well, look at the lion sword. There's two. What? The jade sword. Jade sword. Just the jade's handle, right?
Agate bloodstone, looks like ivory.
They're hunting
Look at
swords.
this golden snake sword.
This is a rapier of Prince Elector Christian II of Saxony, 1583 to 1611, more for decorative purposes than battle. Okay, completely for decorative purposes.
Christy tank. Christy tank.
No, they look like.
These are some cool, like, spears or whatever they are, aren't they?
Spears.
Cool spears.
Say. Oh, it's a specialty. That's why they're weird.
This is Indian shield.
This short sword is a good example of something I didn't know was special till we got home. This belonged to Suleiman the Magnificent, is what is said. It is from 1525 to 30. Exquisite workmanship and lavish use of precious materials distinguish this sword as a princely weapon and exemplifies the opulence and refinement of the Ottoman luxury arts. Almost identical to a yataghan, made in 1526 to 27 by court jeweler Ahmed Tekel for the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. This sword was undoubtedly made in the same imperial workshop. The gold incrustation on the blade depicts a combat between a dragon and a phoenix against a background of foliate scrolls. These figures, like the gold inlaid cloud bands and foliate scrolls on the ivory grips, are Chinese inspiration and were probably introduced into Ottoman art through contacts with Persia. This sword is one of the earliest yataghans, distinctly Turkish weapons characterized by a double curved blade and a hilt without a guard. Also an Ottoman sword, saber with scabbard. We have a link to the sword we talked about before, because if you remember, Suleiman the Magnificent was the owner of that sword, supposedly. This sword has a secret compartment containing a gold coin marked with the name of Suleiman the Magnificent. The story here is that the most important ceremony in the inauguration of many Islamic rulers was the investiture with a sword rather than a crown. This extravagantly decorated saber traditionally is said to have been refitted in 1876 for the investiture of the Ottoman Sultan Murad V.
reigned May 30th to August 31st, 1876. He suffered a nervous breakdown before the ceremony and subsequently was deposed and kept a prisoner until his death in 1904. The sword was probably assembled by a court jeweler using a 17th century Iranian blade, an 18th century Indian jade grip, and gem-studded gold and gilt brass mounts of contemporary workmanship. The emerald near the top of the scabbard opens to reveal a secret compartment containing a gold coin marked with the name of Suleiman the Magnificent, 1494 to 1566, the most powerful Ottoman ruler of the 16th century. The underside of the emeralds is inscribed with the phrase, according to God's will.
I want a saber. Has diamonds on it. Steel, gold,
Where are these
brass,
from? It looks
diamonds,
like
emeralds, pearls,
diamonds, emeralds, and pearls. Are they from,
and
are they
gold.
Persian? What does
And
that
gold.
say?
Turkish.
Turkish,
And gold. So, are we all ready to leave?
think
After we got
so.
our beautiful picture of the sword. And we are ready to go do the sword.
Okay. As an Alaskan, I was pretty excited to see these old pistols. This is a Colt Model 1862 police revolver. The ornate brass grip of this pistol features a female figure representing Christianity and justice. John Quincy Adams Ward created the original model of the grip for a pair of pistols presented by President Abraham Lincoln to the governor of Adrianople, present-day Erdene, Turkey, in 1864. The grip of the pistol displayed here was probably cast from the same mold shortly after that. Ward was relatively unknown at the time, but soon became one of America's most celebrated sculptors. I'm about to zoom in over here on another Colt. This is a Colt third model Dragoon percussion revolver. Samuel Colt, 1814 to 1862, was one of the most famous and successful American inventors and entrepreneurs of the early industrial age. By patenting the first mass-produced multi-shot revolving firearms, Colt achieved worldwide fame and a vast personal fortune. His introduction of precise machine-made weapons and his promotion of the interchangeability of parts were innovations that transformed the arms industry. Colt actively promoted sales through advertising and displays at international fairs, and by presenting deluxe arms to men of influence. His precise and reliable standard model revolvers were highly valued by soldiers and frontiersmen. His more elaborately embellished exhibition and presentation arms appealed as functional objects of beauty. This is from 1853, Hartford, Connecticut, steel, brass, gold, and wood walnut. Unfortunately, I can't tell you about everything. This is another beautiful golden wooden pistol. If you want to know about any of these, go to the Met's website, go to art, and then curated collections, type in pistols. Well, there it is. I hope that you enjoyed. We definitely didn't see everything. We probably saw half of the museum. If you look at a map, you can see we walked to about halfway and then we had to go because it was the end of the day. So what would you do at the Met? Would you go in the other way? What would you see that we didn't see? We did see the death of Socrates. I tried to make sure we saw the most famous things. We didn't see everything. I don't even think I saw Rembrandt's self-portrait, although I saw so many Rembrandts. Well, thanks for visiting the Met with us. I hope that you'll come back and rewatch and pay tribute in your own mind and spirit to these amazing artists and all of this artwork that's made it to where it is today. And the curators, thank you so much for not just throwing it away. Art isn't clutter, creativity isn't clutter, but it is, it's a lot to manage, just like a human life. So have a wonderful day, be nice, be kind.